so on. Now let me go, when we talk about public safety, let's talk about the next issue of public safety, which is this very important bill. Public safety is my number one priority. So I've signed laws that crack down on sex offenders, on drunk drivers, gangs, drugs, and the list goes on and on. But today we are celebrating another very important bill that will help keep deadly ammunitions out of the hands of criminals, gangbangers, and violent felons. And we're talking here about Assembly Bill 962. Let me first say thank you to the bill's author, Assemblyman DeLeon, who is a great legislator up in Sacramento and really deals always with very important issues. So let's give him a big hand for the great work that he has done. And I also want to say thank you to the law enforcement groups that have supported this legislation and that are here today with us. AB 962 requires gun dealers to keep records of all ammunition sales, including fingerprints and identification of the buyer. Those records must be made available to local law enforcement. Now, you may recall I have vetoed similar bills like this in the past because we didn't have the evidence. But now we do have the evidence. More than a dozen cities across California have enacted record-keeping laws for ammunition. And this is one of those perfect examples, like the state of California or other states are the laboratory for the federal government. So if we do something well, they adopt it on the federal level. Well, the cities are the laboratories for us, for the state. So now we have seen that cities have had great success with this program, so we are adopting it as well. Their success is clear and undeniable. Los Angeles is one of those cities, and Chief Bratton is here to talk about it later on, of the whole success here. The city of Sacramento also passed a similar law. And in the last 2 years alone in Sacramento, more than 200 dangerous criminals who were not legally entitled to own firearms or ammunition walked into a store and bought the guns and the ammunition. But because of Sacramento's law, and only because of the law, local law enforcement was able to identify and arrest all of those individuals. And when they went into the homes, the interesting thing was there was all kinds of things that they found. Illegal drugs, illegal guns, explosive devices, and thousands of rounds of ammunition, everything illegal. Imagine how many lives were saved. And while these local programs have been effective, we need a statewide program here, because whenever those criminals see that there's a law passed in a city, they move on and they go to another city. So now we have a statewide law so this will not happen. AB 962 also requires that all ammo be stored in a safe and secure manner behind the counter and also locked up so that minors and criminals can access it. So I'm a firm believer, of course, in the Second Amendment, the right of every law-abiding citizen to bear arms. And that is why I have consistently rejected bills that are unnecessarily restricting that right. However, this bill strikes an appropriate balance between protecting the rights of the gun owners and the rights and protecting also the rights of the people to feel safe and secure in their communities. And that's what it's all about, public safety. So I want to thank you all, and I want to thank Kevin DeLeon for the great work that he has done. And now I would like to have him come up to the microphone and talk a little bit about his legislation. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you, Governor, and I want to thank the women and men of law enforcement throughout the state that protect us from harm's way. I want to especially thank my partners from the get-go, America's top cops, America's top police chief, my police chief, William Bratton, and America's best sheriff, my sheriff, Sheriff Leroy Baca. They guided and encouraged me, and I would not be here today if it was not for their constant support as well as their toil. I also want to give a special thank you to my co-author, this measure, my sole co-author, Assemblywoman Bonnie Lowenthal, who could not be here today, and Chief Rick Brazil of Sacramento, whose invaluable assistance was very critical for the passage of this measure. I want to also give a very special thank you to the many advocates that help support this cause. The Women Against Gun Violence, the Brady Campaign, and the legal community against gun violence. Without their support, we would not be here today. And I want to give a special recognition to an eloquent gentleman, new assembly member from the city of Gardena, who spoke very passionately and eloquently on the assembly floor. That is Assembly Member Mr. Steve Bradford. And I also want to thank Long Beach Department Police Officers Roy Wade and Abe Yap, who shared their heroic story in testifying in support of this measure in Sacramento. In fact, they took a vacation day just to come to Sacramento to testify for this measure. But I want to reserve a special thank you and recognition to the governor of the great state of California, our governor, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is clear to me that the governor took the time to fully research this important issue, to discuss this issue with the trusted law enforcement leaders throughout the state of California before deciding to sign this measure into law. Thank you, Governor, and you deserve a great deal of credit. In signing this bill into law, just as you've done with combating global warming, you continue to make California a national policy, a national model of public policy. Let me be very clear. Bullets are the lifeblood of guns. Guns don't kill people. Bullets do. Right now, anyone can buy ammunition, even felons straight out of prison. And that's not just true here in California, but it's true in most states throughout the country. That's irrational. This is a common sense law. This is about keeping the lifeblood of handguns, the ammunition, out of the hands of criminals and convicted felons. There's no more inconvenience to buying a handgun ammunition, a product that has the potential to maim or kill another human being, than showing an ID to buy a six-pack of beer. There's no more inconvenience to buying handgun ammunition than showing an ID to purchase cigarettes. There's no more inconvenience to buying handgun ammunition than showing an ID and signing a purchaser log of buyers of cold medicines with the ingredient pseudoephedrine. So the question must be asked, shouldn't a dangerous product designed to kill people have at least the same safeguards as a product to treat a common cold? Now, right now, criminals and gangbangers can walk into any sporting goods store, any gun shop, and buy all the ammunition they want. No questions asked. What's worse is that anyone can knowingly, let me underscore the word knowingly, sell ammunition to criminals, and that's perfectly legal in California. It may be legal, but it's also illogical and immoral. Ammunition is the oxygen that drives gun violence, and ignoring it only breeds more violence. This measure will give local law enforcement statewide a powerful tool to track down illegal ammunition purchases by convicted felons and dangerous criminals. Since becoming an Assembly member, I have dedicated myself to improving our laws to make our communities safer. As the New York Times mentioned earlier this month, this is a model for states across the country, particularly those suffering from the scourge of gun violence. I'm proud that we're starting right here in California. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership in moving us, the state of California, and the nation in the right direction. Finally, I would, on behalf of my constituents and the many individuals who have senselessly lost their lives tragically to gun violence in my district, to, I can find it right here. Here we go. And finally, I would like, on behalf again of my constituents, in Charupa Wangswisteri, 9-year-old child, Cynthia Perez, 14 years of age, Robertito Lopez Jr., 4 years of age, Anthony Escobar, 13 years of age, Javier Coeja, 18, Juan Correa, 24, Anthony almost 25, and the deputy sheriff in my district to Deputy Juan Escalante, 27 years of age. I dedicate this bill to all those innocent kids, those innocent adults who died tragically of gun violence, and the innocent children across the state of California who are growing up in the shadows of gang violence. I would again like to thank the governor again for his dedication to making our neighborhoods safer and for his courage to follow the facts and to ignore the hysteria that sometimes overcomes our public policy debates. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He's LA's top cop. He's America's top cop. We all know him. We all love him very much. It's unfortunate, sad that we'll be losing him to the private sector. Nonetheless, his acumen with regards to gun violence, his experience has helped me tremendously, has guided me, and I believe that his cachet that he's brought to the table has greatly enhanced the viability of this measure. Chief Bratton of LAPD.
Good afternoon, or actually good morning, and welcome to our 911 center. If the earthquake drill alarm goes off in the middle of this event, that all of you immediately dive under those tables, if you will. They've been provided for that purpose, but thanks to your tax dollars, this facility is designed to withstand up to, I think it's an 8 on the Richter scale, so I think you'll be okay. I am really pleased to be here this morning. This has been an uphill struggle for a long time, and all kudos to Assemblyman DeLeon and to our governor. The governor talked about always trying to find balance on this issue, and the appreciation that the ammunition component provides that balance, because the firearm without the ammunition basically cannot function. And this will provide meaningful controls over acquiring the ammunition that makes the weapon so deadly. So I applaud you, Governor, on appreciating that this has worked in a number of California cities, and that once again California can take a leadership role in a balanced approach to this very controversial issue. Protect the rights of gun owners and those that would seek to own firearms, but also to protect the public from the potential negative impact of those who would use those weapons and the ammunition that's so critical to their being lethal, to be able to control that. And Assemblyman DeLeon talked about the idea of common sense. This is common sense. The idea that we lock up spray paint to basically try to deter graffiti, the idea that we lock up certain what used to be over-the-counter medicines to try and deter their abuse, makes sense to basically lock up ammunition so it's not so readily available, particularly when there are no sanctions to prevent known criminals from acquiring these instruments of death. That I am pleased to stand here with my law enforcement colleagues and our political leadership, and maybe most importantly to the advocates over to our left, Ann Rice Lane, Women Against Gun Violence, the Brady Campaign, the Southern California chapter, and those of you who have lost loved ones to senseless acts of crime, that you're constantly in the trenches pushing for meaningful sanity to our gun laws. The idea, not going to get rid of them, but we can effectively have a better way of trying to deal with them. So thank you for all of your involvement. It's a good day for Los Angeles, the city that I'm charged with protecting. It's a good day for the county that Lee's charged with protecting, and it's a great day for the state of California that you two are charged with legislating responsibly and reasonably. So thank you so much for this piece of legislation. It's a great day.
Thank you. All right, let's do the bill signing. Down in front, please.